Hey, what's up, YouTube, and welcome to my channel, Ask Jimmy Smith. Today, I'm pumped to be bringing to you a strategy that's fun to talk about, one that a lot of people may not even realize exists, and I'm interviewing an expert named Greg Webb on the topic of selling toys and Legos and investing in discontinued products, investing in store exclusive products, etc., so that you can sell them for much bigger margins on Amazon, Facebook Marketplace, eBay, and even piecemeal them out on specific sites that you can sell little individual bricks on, and different characters as well. So it's a very fun conversation, one that he has been doing since 2015. He's written the book on it. It's called Toy Folio. If you'd like to check that out on Amazon, it's very easy to find. Again, it's called Toy Folio. It's got a bunch of little multicolored bricks on there. So it's easy to find that. But if you're interested, he is doing a course that's coming out very soon. As of the time of this recording, it'll be mid-October that you'll be seeing this course come out. It's called Proven Brick Investing. You can check that out actually at askjimmysmith.com/brick. Greg has, again, been doing this for a long time. We've seen a bunch of success stories from his content in the communities that I serve, such as the free Facebook group called My Silent Team, which you can access at bit.ly/MST group. But in that group, we've seen a bunch of success stories from his content. So I'm excited that it's coming out in a course for the community. So if you check that out at askjimmysmith.com/brick, it'll be a great course to be involved with. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the interview with Greg Webb. Hey, Greg, thank you so much for joining me on the YouTube channel today, man. I'm so excited to have you on.
Thank you for having me, Jimmy.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. I think the first time that I met you actually was a couple weeks ago, at least virtually, a couple weeks ago at the Proven Virtual Conference. So that was pretty fun to hear you give a whole presentation on selling Legos, selling toys, doing that through Q4. And you actually have a course coming out very soon called Proven Brick Investing, which anybody in my audience can check out at askjimmysmith.com/brick. But I'm really pumped for this because you've been doing this for years, buying and holding different toys and being able to really see some end of life cycle products. So give us a little bit of a background on who you are, your Amazon selling and e-commerce journey, and kind of what you're doing today.
Yeah, I started selling online probably 2011, 2012, around that time frame, just looking to make extra cash to save up for a house. I was doing eBay, Craigslist, marketplace equivalents at that time. I don't even think Facebook Marketplace was even the thing back then, but anything I could flip, I was doing. 2014, all the toys for the movie Frozen were out, and so I was flipping Frozen dolls left and right on eBay. And I remember having a conversation with a good friend of mine that Halloween, and he just kind of introduced me to Amazon. He said, "You should sell them on Amazon." I had no idea that was even a thing, that was even allowed, and so he kind of gave me a little push and some resources to kind of explore. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna finish out this Q4 on eBay, and then in January I jumped into the Amazon space in 2015. Did 3,000 in sales that first month, which is, I thought I was, king of the world making 3,000 in sales that first month, and it's just crazy to look back on it because that's basically the equivalent of what a normal day is around here. To go from that a month to that a day is humbling. I'm grateful for the whole journey over the last 8 years. But that first year we sold anything and everything that we could find, a lot of clearance stuff. And it was that Christmas where I had bought and sold a bunch of toys before, but I was looking at Keepa charts and just looking at the prices that first Christmas and just was astounded at how the value of all those toys just appreciated so quickly. Like the prices just spiked on regular price toys, and saw some end of life stuff that just spiked really high that I had bought like for clearance over the summer. And I just took really, I think I sold out of inventory that first Q4. I just didn't have enough inventory, and so I just sat down and was like trying to make a game plan for the next year. I was like, I'm going to be more prepared next Q4. I'm going to dig into like this whole toy niche. And so really dove into toys, kind of learned different brands, different life cycles, cycles, how the retailers, their life cycles inside the stores, that kind of thing. And so you can kind of build a whole strategy around not just Legos, but toys in general for the last number of years. But I would say Lego is the apex toy brand. Like it's the biggest and the most popular, and has properties of different that make it better than other products, but also makes it better than other toys. And so really dove into the Lego niche, and it's become one of my biggest brands that we sell. And yeah, it's just been a journey ever since of learning that cycle of learning every day, still a student, like I like to say. But yeah, it's been fun.
That's awesome. And you mentioned the term, you said end of life. Can you explain that for anybody that may not understand what that means for selling on Amazon?
Yeah, so end of life can mean a couple of things. Like health and beauty products can be discontinued. The manufacturer no longer makes a certain product. In the toy world, that can be discontinued. But Lego has a unique term they call retirement. And so Lego sets retire after they're done being sold at retail stores. And the life cycle for that is usually on average 18 to 24 months. So you'll see sets that are released in January, and they'll run for 2 years, and they'll be phased out, in Q4 of 2 years from release, or they'll release in July and be released 18 months from there. It just depends on the theme. Like a lot of them are centered around different movies or whatnot. And so a movie gets released in theaters and the Lego set gets put out in stores at the same time. And then a year and a half later, the movie popularity's died off. The toys in the retailer are being cleared out, but the demand still exists there for those products on Amazon. And so that's where you can really make a decent profit by knowing which sets to look at, buying them at the end of their retirement, and then selling them on Amazon after their post-retirement.
Okay. And so you sell mainly on Amazon. Do you also sell on eBay or other marketplaces still, or you've been doing Amazon?
Yeah, we actually are in the process of setting up Walmart right now. We've drug our feet there, but we still have continued to sell on eBay for the last number of years. And that's mainly scratch and dents, returns, like all that kind of stuff. We don't really do a whole lot of new items on eBay. We do a lot on Facebook Marketplace for the same type of stuff, scratch and dent, returns, what kind of stuff. Just you get to the scale of the amount of things that we have to handle on Amazon, and you have to do something with that inventory. So it makes it essential.
For sure. Yeah. And scratch and dent, that's definitely something to keep in mind for anybody that's, looking for some toys. If you've got boxes that are all scratched up, you can get in trouble on Amazon for that kind of stuff. They'll say it's used, sold as new, and all those things. So you are still finding success in getting, the money back from these, brick investing, toy investing, so to speak. You're finding success in getting that money back on the other platforms, it sounds like, which is good. So
I mean, that's one of the great things about Lego, is that even if you come across something that is not new, like there's so many different ways to make money. Like if you take any other category, like if you had used clothing, or a box of open cereal, or a broken coffee maker or something like that, it'd be very hard to liquidate that or get your money out of it. But with Lego, like I said, people buy the empty boxes because they just want to display an empty box, just because a collector's item. People buy the books that come inside, like the instruction manuals. Maybe they have the set, and so you can part out the instruction manual. People are looking for each like specific piece. Like there are sites where you can go in and look for a very like specific piece, and like everything's numbered, and it's just people can find the sets, the little pieces that they need for the sets that they have. The minifigs are very valuable if you find certain ones that go with a particular set. And so there's a whole range of opportunities with Lego where you could be buying these from, yard sales or Craigslist yourself and flipping out and parting out pieces to selling brand new sets on Amazon. There's a way to make money off of them.
Wow. And by minifigs, do you mean so many figures like the little people, or do you mean like the other things that would come in those
Yeah,
sets?
so mostly the little people, but there's also characters. Like a minifig might be, an animal or some type of character from a movie.
Okay.
It's the minifig for that particular character.
Perfect. So if you're ever at a garage sale and you see a whole box of like random Legos, do you just buy that right away if they're right priced right, or do you go through them because you know them?
I don't. It would take a long time. It's very time consuming to go out and part and like look up those things. So I
Okay.
would make an offer on the lot
Okay.
and
Gotcha.
then spend the time researching and pick out all the gold, and probably would pass off the bulk of the lot to somebody else that wants to do the same after I've gone through it and found what I want.
Okay. Okay. So in those cases, let's say you did come across a whole box of random, Legos at a garage sale. You probably wouldn't buy it if it was a bunch of bricks. You would buy it if they were more like character pieces or those minifigs that you were talking about at that point.
Right. Most
Okay.
and minifigs or like accessories. Like if there's think of an example, if there's like a sword or
Mm,
some kind of like hat or something that can be attached to a minifig,
mm.
not like just a brick, but some
Yeah.
kind of accessory that can go with a minifig. Those can go for crazy money. I mean, you're talking about like just a little plastic sword that could fit on the end of your finger. Some of them can go for $20, $30 a piece.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
incredible. So you've been doing this since around 2015. That's when you said you kind of had that, you sold through it and then you decided to do more of this. You've actually written a book. It's called Toy Folio. It's been out for a few years. So if anybody's interested in checking that out, again, it's on Amazon called Toy Folio. It's got a bunch of Lego bricks, maybe not Lego, but bricks on the front of it. And
Right.
so it's pretty easy to spot. It's got a ton of great reviews. So I've heard of it for the last few years, actually, before we ever had a chance to talk. But for anybody that's looking to get into brick investing or toy investing, and we call them more investments, probably just because of the life cycle that's kind of involved in this. You're kind of taking a look at all of the different market factors and seeing, all right, well, maybe in a year from now, I can really sell it for good margins. But who would you recommend this strategy for? If somebody's brand new to Amazon, should they be doing this? Or is it more once you know Keepa, once you know all these other things, then check out these strategies?
Yeah, I mean, I would say there's definitely more opportunities for somebody who knows what they're doing and is already on Amazon, but it really can appeal to somebody that's just starting out too. Like I said, there's so many opportunities where if you're just starting out, those garage sales and eBay sales, that's perfect cash flow, where
Mhm.
you're going to be able to be buying a lot for $100 and part it out for 1,000. Like
Wow.
that's the seed money that can use to fund your business.
Mm.
But definitely, as you get into it, um, there's certain sales throughout the year that newbies can kind of jump in on. Where I like to call there's certain buys that I call multiple exit options, where there's basically hardly any risk. So, for example, there was a sale the other week where the MSRP on the Lego set was 70, and a retailer had the set on a special discount for 40.
Mm.
So this creates an opportunity where you could sell the set matching Amazon at 70 and profit like $6 or $7 after fees,
Mm.
or you could hold it till after December because it's retired in December. So you have this basically no risk, in my opinion, where you can always at least break even or make a profit now if you wanted the cash flow now, or that's going to retire in a couple months. Amazon's going to stop selling it, hopefully, and then because you never know. They can. There have been certain sets that retire, and Amazon continues to sell them for a certain period. It takes longer for them to go out of stock on certain sets than others, but 90+% of the time, around the retirement date, Amazon goes out of stock
Right.
and the price starts to appreciate on Amazon. And so you can make profit now or more profit later, depending on what you choose.
That's awesome. And so what about, I think Lego also releases like limited edition ones for short periods of time. Do you jump on those as well in every case, or is it certain ones? Like, my dad likes the Beatles. So I remember when Lego released like a yellow submarine Beatles set a few years ago. Would that have been an opportunity that you would have jumped on at that time?
Yeah, so there's certain exclusives and certain limited sets. There's are certain sets where you can only get if you purchase other sets through Lego, like they're a free gift. Like if you spend over $100 or over $200, it's the only opportunity you can get to get that exclusive free gift set for limited time. So yeah, we do jump on those. Those are a little bit harder to get. They're easier if you live in an area close to a Lego store, which I don't. I'm at least over 2 hours away from a Lego store, so it's hard for me to make it. But if you live near one, you can go in pretty much every day and spend the limit, get the free exclusive. Online, it's a lot harder because they cap you at so many purchases
Mhm.
of certain things. So you really have to spread out what you're buying in order to get that exclusive. But we do friends and family have accounts, and we work out the details with reimbursement and everything. But um, yeah, it's possible to get a good quantity on those things. But yes, the exclusive sets are some of my favorites, especially the store exclusives, retail exclusives, because with all exclusives, you don't have to worry about Amazon on the listing.
Mhm. That's true. Okay. And what kind of ROIs and profits are you typically looking at? So, whenever everything's said and done, you've bought it, you've waited, I think you said 18 to 20, or no, 6 to 12 months after, somewhere around there, you sell it. What kind of ROIs and profits you typically looking at?
Yeah, so I mean, in the example that I was talking about earlier, you know, there was an opportunity to make $6 or $7 profit right now on that $40 set. So, I mean, that's what it's less than 20%. I mean, that on the low end, you're talking like 15%, but that's like more of like just a cash flow play,
Mhm.
kind of get capital back type of thing. That's the low end. On the high end, you're talking over 100%. And I like to use the phrase desired ROI, and that's different for everybody. And so once you get past that retirement date and the price starts to appreciate on Amazon, it just becomes a cash flow question for each seller.
Mm.
Where do you want to exit? Do you want to exit at 40% ROI, 60% ROI, 100% ROI? And those are all questions you just have to ask about, what are you paying in storage fees? Where does it make sense for you? Where's the mathematical equation make sense for you where, you get the most bang for your buck as far as that kind of thing? Because you do have to consider storage cost if you're in holding in the prep center or you're holding in storage yourself.
Mm.
But yeah, I like to try to shoot between 50 and 100, but depending on how deep I am on a certain set, I'll start lower than 50% just to start moving stuff.
Okay.
Uh, there's certain sets that will go hundreds and hundreds deep on a certain set,
Wow.
and just have to start. You need you need to start moving them somehow, and so you take a little bit off top, kind of lower your risk tolerance. You never know how many another seller is going to have, or what Amazon may do on the listing, or you know,
Okay.
we have to kind of take all those things into consideration. But yeah,
Absolutely.
it's I mean, if you're talking like long term hold, it's multiple hundreds of percent ROI for certain sets. If you go back and look at Keepa charts, but with this strategy, I'm trying to more or less teach people to that sweet spot of 6 to 12 months
Hmm.
hold. And that way, you can do it the next year.
Yeah.
Like you can build on this and take profits from the previous year, reinvest into resets that are retiring in the
Mhm.
current year, and then rinse and repeat. So this can be a strategy that people do exclusively. I know sellers that just do Legos, and it's kind of like just a side gig type thing they do. Some of them do it full time. It's the perfect thing for somebody that has a 9 to 5 and doesn't want to go out sourcing
Mm.
every day or manage a bunch of inventory. They can just buy Legos towards the end of life, sell them in the next year, at their convenience,
Mhm.
or it can just be built on top of your replan strategy. it's just extra cash flow, a place to park profits and that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's so cool. Now whenever you buy something and you're expecting to sell it next year, when do you decide to send it into, or are you sending it into Amazon FBA? Are you selling it FBM? And if you are doing FBA, when do you send it in?
We're selling all of ours FBA currently, and kind of like when I talked about that desired ROI, we set keep alerts for kind of right underneath that threshold, so we kind of get an alert of when it hits the target price that we're looking at, and so when that keep alert goes off, it kind of gives us an idea of like, hey, it's approaching this desired ROI. We can start thinking about sending it in.
Okay.
Then, and again, it just depends on. It depends. There's so many different factors to consider. Like there may be a movie that comes out the year after that's related to the set that just retired, and so you'll see a spike in sales when that happens because people can't find that set in retail anymore. Or Q4 is always really good. Q4 is the catch-all answer. When you send it in, get your capital back in Q4 and reinvest in Q4, that type of thing. But yeah, the keep a thing is probably the biggest strategy.
Hmm.
Knowing when to send it in, and before you send it in, we have a whole system of how you should prep it and how you should store it and where it's ready to send in ahead of time. So
Okay.
go over that in the course.
Yeah, that's perfect. And again, that course will be at askjimmysmith.com/brick. For anybody that wants to check that out, you can see the link below and in the description. Now, one thing that I know we'll get questions about is ungating. Is that something that would be covered in the course? Or, because some people are restricted, not just in toys, but also in Lego. Do you have any strategies for people to get ungated in that course or elsewhere?
Yeah, we'll definitely we'll definitely cover it in the course. Amazon has seemed to tighten down the hatches a little bit across the board, not just with Lego, but just ungating in general in the last 2-3 months. And so it's not less, in my opinion, it's not really getting harder. It's just taking longer to hear back from them.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you used to get a response back in less than 24 hours. Some people are, waiting weeks to just even get a response.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, there's a couple of ways that we can talk about getting ungated in the course.
All right, perfect. And before I forget, I know you mentioned the keep a tracking alerts. I do have a video on this channel for setting those up, not for this strategy, but just kind of an overview. If people are curious what that even is, you can check that out on the channel. Now, if somebody were to watch the video and they just want to try to apply some of the basic parameters or principles, what are some of the things that they could take this week and maybe go out and look for a couple things that then they could bring to you in the course and say, hey, I found this thing. What is this? Is this a good deal? Like, what should they be looking for as just some basic parameters?
Um, Good question. So I would start off by going all to the like main retailers, Walmart and Target, and trying to find the store exclusives. That's where the money makers are. They may not be profitable right this second, but those are the sets you should be paying attention to. If you want to go look on Keepa and just this is kind of getting a little bit advanced, and we'll kind of cover it in the course of how to do it in the course, but you could filter on Keepa by how long the set has been on Amazon. So you could see, sets that were released in 2022 or sets that were released in 2021. And you can look back at Keepa charts and see how often Amazon goes out of stock, what the price reaches when, when that happens, certain themes, what the prices get to. They're all kind of things that people can kind of be looking at ahead of time. I would go ahead if you're an Amazon seller that you most likely have an idea of how to get ungated before I cover it in the course. I would go ahead and try to get ungated before the course because the course comes out in early November, and probably the best time to buy Legos is the end of November
Right.
because there's always kinds of um, Black Friday, Cyber Monday deals that those prices you only see once a year. And so if you miss those buying opportunities, then you really miss a lot of the gains that you can get in 2024.
Okay. And so as of the time of this recording, we're in October of 2023. So if anybody's watching this much later, then it wouldn't apply as much. But that's why you've got the course. It should be starting early November. So that way people can get in and really kind of take advantage of the sales before the end of the Black
Right.
Friday season, so to speak.
Right.
Okay, that's awesome. Now, if somebody was newer and they were like, hey, I've got a few $1,000s that I want to put towards Amazon. I really want to get learning the process. Do you think $1,000 would be a good starting point for somebody that would want to test out the brick investing methods? Or do you think that, they could start with less, or it should be more since they're going to be holding it for about a year?
Yeah. To answer that question, to be completely honest, the first question I would ask them is, do you have any source of income outside of Amazon or selling online? If you need, like, if you have a 9 to 5 and you're comfortable and you don't need, you know, it to turn a profit to eat next month, then yeah, a couple $1,000s is perfect to get started with this strategy. If you're starting on Amazon and you need to just turn that inventory over, then you need to watch all the rest of Jimmy's videos on replans. That type of thing
Okay.
is what I would say. Because, you know, in a perfect world, everything retires the way it at a certain date, and then the price shoots up. But we don't live in a perfect world, and it could take. That's why we say 6 to 12 months, because it can take, you know, 6 to 8 months sometimes for those sellers to have some at like the break even price to kind of fall off on the Keepa chart
Mhm.
before you see that price to appreciate. So I don't want to. People can get a cash flow crunch real easy doing this, and
Mhm.
so kind of want to say, you know, protect yourself there. Um, don't spend anything that you can't afford, that you need.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm actually just curious. Do you have like a favorite story or favorite product that like, hey, this deal was really cool and I'm going to tell people about it, or are they kind of blur together now after this many years?
Yeah, they kind of blur together, but I would say the last couple of years have been pretty good with exclusives. There was a Target exclusive Star Wars set last year that on Black Friday I drove around for 2 days just buying as many as I could, because it was really hard to get online. You could only get one online the entire year,
Mm,
one at a time, and so you really had to go in store to get it, and that's what made the price jump on Amazon so fast, because we were buying them for $20 Black Friday last year, and by late spring we were selling them for 65, 70. Like,
wow.
yeah, it was, you know, those are the home runs that you can find, Black Friday, Cyber Monday week.
Mhm.
Um, there was a couple Walmart exclusives that we're still selling. Like we went so deep on some of those that they've just been great cash flow for us this year. Um,
Awesome.
yeah, it's just there was a couple. Amazon has exclusive Legos, and those are hard to gauge. They're really hard to gauge, but we definitely don't go as deep on those, but we've done really well on some of those flips.
Okay, so it's definitely not every Lego set, right? I mean, there is you have to
No,
pick right, and that's what the course is
yeah,
about. It's not like once something's retired, it'll always go up in price, or people will be
right.
seeking it out. So, would can you estimate or guesstimate the amount of Lego sets that actually end up being good things that you would purchase versus ones that you don't that are getting retired?
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, it's impossible for any. I guess I shouldn't say impossible. If somebody had millions of dollars they wanted to put in this, it could definitely be possible. But
Mhm.
um, honestly, I don't know the exact number. I would say there's in the hundreds range of how many are retiring this
Mhm.
year. I would 300 sets are retiring. We're only buying like less than 20,
Oh wow. Okay.
just because you can't buy them all.
Mhm.
And I mean, you technically could, and I guess if somebody really wanted to, take a lot of risk off the table, they would just only buy, like, kind of like the phrase of an inch deep, mile wide. You
Mhm.
could take that approach and see what they all do, and but over and I would say more or less over the last couple of years, we did that to an extent, especially with clearance season. That's a whole nother side topic
Yeah.
because, but yeah, we just kind of found that once we get a certain one that we really like the data on, we just go deeper on it. If there's a special buy, especially those limited buys, I think we talked about it on the in the Proven Amazon, the online thing. You know,
Yeah. The virtual conference.
there's 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 those once a year, once in a lifetime buys, and that's kind of what I was talking about. You know, because Lego retires and because Black Friday only comes once a year, it creates a literally a once in a lifetime buy. Like that Star Wars set that I bought last Black Friday that I was selling for 65.70 in the spring. I had that one weekend to buy it.
Yeah. Wow. And so are most of your deals can be retail arbitrage, or can you do this with online arbitrage very well?
You can do it both. Yeah, we actually get a lot of our quantity buying online
Okay.
throughout the year. It's just more or less those special buys in November and December are mostly retail or to get any quantity you
Yeah.
need retail because it's limited online or they sell out faster online. So
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, and I guess so for people that are listening to that, then you said there's about 300 approximately sets that would be retiring this year, and you're buying probably 20 to 30 of them. So you would say 90% of them. Are you avoiding just because you don't have enough time and capital to get them all, or are you avoiding them because they could lose money over time? Like, do you see that there are a lot of these Lego sets that retire, and then yeah, you will lose money if you buy these wrong ones?
yeah, I mean, not necessarily lose money. It's
Okay.
just they don't appreciate as fast, and so it depending on what if you're buying it at full retail, you're looking at a really long hold
Okay.
um, to get it to a place where you can exit profitably.
Okay.
As far as like a Lego set selling for below MSRP after retirement, it just doesn't happen.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
I've looked in
1% of the time. Yeah.
like look at keep it charts. It just doesn't happen. Like they always sell for pretty much at least MSRP. So if you're buying at you know the retail norm of 20% off to MSRP, then
Mm.
you know if you have to sell for that price, then obviously yes, you lose money. But that's kind of where I teach that multiple exit options where you're buying low enough that you know you have options where you can at least get your money back, make
Yeah.
a little bit of money in the worst case scenario.
Right. And that's the thing that, I've tried to train people on this channel too. It's like, look, if you're buying products and you lose, let's say you lost 10%. Well, it'd be like if you spent $10 and you got $9 back, that's no fun. But if you're buying right, that's going to happen 10% of the time, maybe 20% if you're really not doing a good job, or you're just new and you're just learning. And so even if you broke even, like you're doing well, but those times that you win can really make a huge difference. That's why it's called proven brick investing for this course, because it is an investment. You're waiting a longer period of time to sell it typically, unless you just want the quicker cash flow. But it, just like stocks or anything else, it's an investment that you expect will appreciate over time, and then you can sell it at the return that you're hoping for. If you're buying the right product. So I really love that. Now, Greg, would you give us just kind of an overview of the course? Again, that's at askjimmysmith.com/brick. Just give us an overview of what that course is going to look like and feel like, so that way if people join, they have an expectation of what they're going to receive.
Yeah, so I kind of start off, for especially for the new person, where it's kind of all of the Lego vocabulary, kind of
Mhm.
getting everybody up to speed on the terminology that is used in the space, and then it's more of like what am I looking for? How are we buying it? All the like little technical things of setting up tax exempt on certain sites. All the little details that people don't really kind of think through. And then the meat of the course is what you're looking for on Keepa. What are the things that I'm kind of like tracking and studying and following to kind of pick the sets um, that you want to buy and which ones you want to go deeper on, which ones you don't want to go deeper on. Examples of all of those kind of things so that people can kind of see what I'm talking about. And then I would say lastly is the it's kind of the things that people don't think about that affect your bottom line, and that is how to prep, how to store, all those kind of things. Kind of give a preview. My good friend Dong, he termed the phrase dollar density, and so it's kind of like this idea of, you know, there's certain sets where, you know, people always gravitate to the huge sets.
Mhm.
You know, they think, you know, bigger sets, bigger profits, those type of things, and that can be true. Like the dollar profit on those can be higher than the smaller sets, but when it comes to selling those and prepping those, you may only get 3 or 4 of those in a box that you put in storage,
Mhm.
whereas you could get 30 smaller ones in the same box. And so, you know, the math works out where you're putting more profit per box with the smaller sets than the larger sets, and there's less risk with the smaller sets than there are the larger sets due to shipping and all that kind of stuff. And so just kind of getting people to think through those type of things that make a difference on the bottom line. And that's, you know, at the end of the day is what people want to see is
Mhm.
the bottom line going up. And
That's
so,
awesome. Yeah, I
yeah.
love it. I think too, I mean, if you're an experienced Amazon seller and you wanted to add this into kind of your business model, I'm sure that you could train virtual assistants to kind of look for these opportunities, right? And then almost monitor them. And as good ones are here, or maybe the keep alert comes through, then, you know, you can be the one to go buy them, or if you trust someone. So I think there's multiple channels. If somebody's newer, they've got a 9 to 5 and they're just looking to create something that they want to invest in that they could sell in 6 to 12 months, because they've got some extra time, and this is a great model. If you're someone that's experienced doing, you know, $10,000 or more a month, $100,000 more a month, you could set up systems to have teams kind of monitor these opportunities. So I'm really excited for this. You've been doing this for years, since 2015 at this point. You've got a book that's been out for a few years that's done very well, is highly reviewed, called Toyfolio. So if anybody's interested in checking out the course with Greg, you can just head over to askjimmysmith.com/brick. Please leave questions in the comments. I'll try to answer as best as I can, but if I can't, then I'll reach out to Greg, see if there's any answers that he could provide. But Greg, is there anything else you'd like to tell the audience? Anything else you want to cover, especially with Q4 coming up, before we hop off?
I don't think so. I think we covered most of it today, and definitely everything will be covered in the course. So look forward to doing that.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited for it. Greg, thank you so much for joining with me. And everybody, thank you for being here. And looking forward to seeing you all in the course. And let us know if you need anything. Hey, thank you so much for checking out this video. I hope that this conversation was as fun for you as it was for me. I love talking about Legos and toys. Just, you know, brings back some childhood memories for me. And it's great to see a strategy that has worked for, at this point, 8 years, because it was 2015 he started doing this, and it's now 2023 at the time of this recording. So I expect that this type of a strategy will continue to work for multiple years later. The platforms may change. Different things can, you know, obviously fluctuate, but ultimately this has been a strategy that has worked for a while. So if you are interested in checking out the course, all you have to do is go to askjimmysmith.com/brick. That link is below and in the description. It'll be a great course with a bunch of success stories that we've already seen from people that have tried out these methods in our communities. And so I'm really excited to see this one come out and see the success stories coming from it over the 6 to 12 months as people are holding on to these different sets using some of the strategies that Greg talked about in the video. So again, if you want to check that out, it's at askjimmysmith.com/brick. Also, as always, if you're interested in joining my contest to win a free copy of my book, Side Hustle to Full-Time Income, all you have to do is leave a comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and make sure to hit the notification bell. Tune into the next video where I announce the winner from this video in the middle of that next one. So I hope that this video helped you and blessed you. I hope you have a great rest of your day and a blessed rest of your week.